Mark Kerr, nicknamed the Smashing Machine, dominates the early days of mixed martial arts. His ferocious style and wrestling background make him nearly unbeatable. Audiences chant his name as he becomes a pioneer of the sport. But behind the spotlight, Mark struggles with chronic injuries and crippling pressure. He hides painkillers and steroids in his gym bag. The world sees a champion, he sees cracks forming. The film opens with a brutal fight in Japan's Pride tournament. Mark pummels his opponent until the referee drags him off. His face is calm, but his knuckles are split and bleeding. Backstage, doctors warn him he's risking long-term damage. He shrugs it off, "I'm built to fight." But his girlfriend Dawn sees the toll it's taking. Flashbacks reveal Mark's childhood in Ohio. Wrestling gave him purpose and discipline, a way out of poverty. He learned to channel rage into the mat, becoming a collegiate star. A coach pushed him into early MMA, telling him he could be the next big thing. Fame came quickly, but so did dependency on painkillers. The cycle began long before the audience knew. At home, Dawn struggles with Mark's mood swings. He's gentle one moment, violent the next, trapped between love and rage. She wants him to quit fighting, but he feels it's all he has. His manager Dan pressures him to keep fighting for bigger paychecks. Sponsorship deals hang in the balance. Mark is torn between survival and self-destruction. Training montages show Mark's obsessive routine. He lifts, sweats, and injects painkillers into his thighs. Sparring partners whisper that he's unbeatable but unstable. One night he collapses mid-session, heart racing from drug use. Dawn begs him to get help, but he refuses, afraid weakness will ruin his career. The Pride Grand Prix in Japan looms, his biggest stage yet. Millions will watch him live. He trains harder, cutting weight dangerously. The press hails him as an unstoppable monster, but inside he's terrified of losing, terrified of fading away. Dawn sees his hands trembling before the fight. His first match is violent and decisive. Mark slams his opponent repeatedly, earning a TKO. Fans roar, calling him the Smashing Machine, but backstage he vomits blood in the locker room. The doctor advises him not to continue. His manager convinces him otherwise. In the semifinals, he faces a rising Brazilian star. The fight is brutal, knees, elbows, and exhaustion. Mark pushes through sheer willpower fueled by painkillers. He wins, but barely stands after the bell. Commentators say he looks invincible, but at what cost? Dawn cries in the stands. Between fights, Mark breaks down. He admits to Dawn he can't stop using. She pleads with him to quit the tournament, but he insists on finishing. "I need this, or I'm nothing." She storms out, unable to watch him destroy himself. Mark is left alone in the locker room. The final fight arrives. The arena is electric with thousands chanting his name. Mark enters like a gladiator, but his body is failing. Each punch is slower, each kick weaker. His opponent overwhelms him, landing brutal shots. Mark collapses, unable to rise. The crowd is stunned. The machine has broken. Mark lies unconscious as medics rush in. Dawn watches in horror from backstage. The commentators call it the end of an era. Mark is hospitalized, drifting in and out of consciousness. He whispers, "I can't keep this up." Recovery is painful and humiliating. Reporters hound him about steroid use and addiction. Sponsorships vanish and his manager abandons him. Dawn stays, but their relationship fractures under stress. Mark admits he doesn't know who he is without fighting. He spirals deeper into depression. He attends rehab reluctantly. The counselors push him to confront trauma, not just drugs. Mark struggles, relapsing more than once. Flashbacks reveal the pressure of living up to everyone's expectations. He admits he never fought for himself, only for approval. It's a moment of painful honesty. Despite setbacks, Mark tries a comeback fight in the US older, slower, but still dangerous. He enters the cage again. Fans cheer, hoping for a return to glory. But mid-match, he's overwhelmed by a younger fighter. Instead of rage, he accepts defeat. He taps out for the first time in his career. Afterward, he sits in the locker room quietly. Dawn enters expecting anger, but he smiles faintly. "I'm done," he says, for the first time believing it. The burden lifts even as tears fall. The era of the Smashing Machine ends. But Mark Kerr begins to find himself. Years later, he works as a coach for young fighters. He teaches discipline, warning them of the dangers of addiction. His students call him Coach Kerr, never the Smashing Machine. He still walks with pain, but carries himself with humility. In a way, Dawn remains by his side, their bond stronger. Mark finally has peace. The film cuts between his old fights and his new life. Fans still remember the warrior he was. But now, his legacy is teaching others to survive. He rebuilds broken relationships, especially with family. He learns being human is stronger than being a machine. For the first time, he doesn't feel alone. The climax isn't victory in the ring, it's redemption outside it. Mark speaks at an addiction recovery program. He admits to the crowd, "I was built to smash, but life taught me to rebuild." The room erupts in applause, not cheers for violence, but respect. His journey inspires fighters and addicts alike. This is his real fight, and he wins. The final montage shows the rise of modern MMA stars. Commentators call them pioneers, but Mark's shadow lingers. He was the machine that opened the door. The sport evolved, but his story remains a cautionary tale. Young fighters study his footage, learning from his triumphs and failures. His legend becomes something deeper than brute force. Ending scene, Mark sits in an empty gym late at night. He wraps his hands slowly, staring at the cage. For a moment, he imagines stepping back inside. Then he smiles, shaking his head, and sets the wraps down. He whispers, "I'm free." The lights fade to black, leaving the sound of a roaring crowd echoing in memory.